Hey guys, this is one of our breakdowns of the NCAA Tournament bracket. We're going to start with the South region, and with Florida as the #1 overall seed, Kansas as the #2 seed, Syracuse as the 3, UCLA as the 4. What are your initial thoughts on maybe this first half of the bracket?
That Tulsa name pops out. Because Danny Manning's their coach, and they've gotten a lot of wins in a row, and they've come on really strong at the end. I don't see them beating UCLA, but that name pops out. Ohio State as a 6th seed is not very intimidating. I don't know. Syracuse has fallen off. That's a relatively weak 3 seed.
I agree.
Because they don't have any depth. They have trouble scoring.
Mm-hmm.
They're just not as good as they were at the beginning of the year. At the beginning of the year, I don't know what happened. And then Kansas, I'm a huge Florida fan. I'm nervous about this Florida-Pitt matchup, but Kansas I hated that. Kansas is going to have a lot of trouble with New Mexico because they don't have Embiid, but if Kansas can get to a point where they can have Embiid, they're going to be one of the toughest outs of the tournament because defensively and offensively, that's a presence down low.
Yeah.
So originally, I don't see many upsets. In fact, I don't have any upsets in this bracket. I have Florida versus UCLA, Syracuse versus Kansas, Florida versus Kansas, and Florida getting through. I think this is when this came out, I thought it was a very strong bracket, but I think it's a relatively straightforward one.
I'm kind of weary about some of these. I'm not sure UCLA is going to make it through to the Elite Eight very easily with this Tulsa. I think
the Sweet 16.
Yeah, to the Sweet 16. Sorry.
I was about to say.
Yeah, no. I think that VCU could really pose a threat to them to get to that Sweet 16 spot.
I love VCU. Shaka Smart.
Shaka Smart is a great coach. I mean, they're coached very well. They love to pressure people, get right up in your face, and and that with that sort of play, it's kind of made for upsets, and so I really. And they did that last year, and I've looked to that again to make the Sweet 16. I don't see them posing any threat whatsoever to Florida, but I think that they could get to the Sweet 16. And Pitt is really, Pitt might be this Pitt Florida game is going to be crazy. I think Pitt has a chance to make that a really interesting game. I think Florida will definitely ultimately come out of that, but.
I just think Florida's too big down low. I just think Patrick Young. I know that Pitt's like a Big East team, but they're not very small, but they're small, and they can shoot. The great thing about Florida is that they have so many different defenses. The press will get Pitt to play out of their comfort zone. they're a very Big East possession by possession team.
Right.
So yes, I was very worried about that Pitt game at first, but then I thought about it and. Pitt should be scared of Florida, obviously. Florida's the team to be scared of, but I think that down low, Pat Young went at Julius Randle. He went at Willie Cauley-Stein. He's not afraid to go at people. He's a senior. He said what I love about it, he said, I'm going to play like I'm a freshman walk-on trying to gain a scholarship. Mm-hmm. He's working harder than everyone. He's playing harder than everyone, and he's got more skill than most people that are walk-ons trying to make a team. So I think this Florida team is very scary. I would be shocked if they lost in the round of 32.
Yeah, I would too. I think that the game might be interesting, but ultimately Florida is definitely going to come out of that one. I think one of the more interesting matchups in this bracket is this New Mexico-Kansas game.
In the second round.
In the second round, I think that's such a dangerous team. New Mexico just beats San Diego State for that Mountain West title, or tournament title, and they got a 7 seed. They have some really good big men in there, and if Embiid isn't back for Kansas, I don't know how they're going to handle
be a tough
that
matchup.
threat. Yeah, it's going to be
really tough.
You watched that
New Mexico San Diego State game.
I did.
So.
Yeah, it was. They have some skilled big men in there. They're not super athletic, but they know how to play. They have some guys outside that can shoot the ball, and they're going to pose. That's going to be a really good game. That's going to be
probably
very interesting.
I think Syracuse. I come back to guard play. I think Tyler Ennis is going to get his stuff together, and Jim Boeheim and C.J. Fair. I don't see them losing before the Sweet 16. Ohio State just doesn't have enough offense to beat them. If you want to beat Syracuse, you can score. Scoring points is the way to beat Syracuse. Shoot them out of that zone, and they just don't. I just don't think that they offer that. I think.
It's going to be a really low-scoring game. I think that's one of the. It's going to be really slogging.
But I think Syracuse is going to win. I think this.
So do I.
I think these Sweet 16 matchups are. I mean, these round of 32 matchups are all fantastic. I mean, Florida Pitt's going to be a great game. UCLA VCU is going to be fantastic. New Mexico Kansas too, and Syracuse Ohio State are both struggling, so that'll be good too. And I think I think once you get into the deep part of this bracket, I think the South becomes one of the more interesting ones, but one of the more straightforward ones as well.
I agree with that. I think there are going to be some great games in this, but I think ultimately it comes down to Florida just being the best team.
And Florida beating Kansas.
And I think Florida will ultimately beat Kansas.
And get to the Final Four for the first time since 2007.
I'm telling you, if Wiggins plays like he has been if
Embiid comes back, you could say 4 Elite Eights in a row for Florida.
Yeah,
which would be heartbreaking as a Gator fan.
Especially
no one's done that in a long time, but still.
All these guys are seniors.
They've won 26 in a row.
I think it's really their time to get to this Final Four and ultimately to get this national championship game. And when you get to the national championship game,
it's one game.
Yeah, it's one game. Anything can happen.
But at the same time, the national championship game. I mean, usually if there's a powerhouse versus a less powerful team, the powerhouse wins.
True.
And a lot of things are going to happen in the next 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get us wrong. I mean, Florida could get upset by Pitt. Kansas could get upset by New Mexico, and then the South becomes just wide open with a 4 or 5 seed or something else. But yeah, I think we can agree on Florida getting out of the South. And all these games are fun. And I can't wait to analyze them after they've happened.
Yeah. I just think the most important thing for this bracket is to keep an ear out for when Embiid is going to be coming back, and that kind of and if he's not,
and if they don't have him for the second weekend, there's no way they're going to get to the Final Four.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really, really hard for them to get to the Final Four if they don't have.
You don't see him staying next year, do you?
I think he's more likely than Wiggins to stay, but
I think there's no way.
I think it would be dumb.
He started playing 3 years ago, and he's one of the best basketball players in college.
He's a professional player. I mean, he has that body,
he needs to. I feel like this is an advantage because he can start working on his game at an NBA level in the NBA as quick as possible.
Yeah, it can be his job.
A question for another day.
Yep.
Anyway, that's the South. We'll be right back with the videos with the remaining brackets. Have a good one.
Later.
See you soon.